This is Tim Albright with AVNation and ISC 2017, talking to my buddy TJ from QSC. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
Good. A couple weeks ago, you and I had a conversation about well, server level processing.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
About a year ago, I wrote a couple of pieces looking ahead and seeing what control companies should be doing. Right. Again, I don't know anything. I'm an old programmer and looking at what people probably should be looking at, taking things like control and putting it on the network. And I'll be darned if you guys didn't do that with DSP.
We made you
and
profit.
control, and some of your the camera stuff.
Right.
So yeah, you made me the smartest guy in the room for a second. Talk a little bit about what you're doing with the Dell servers.
Sure.
And how people get involved, and then why.
Sure. So I'll try to kind of keep it balanced between technology and sort of the business implications, right? But I'll go what and why and how a little bit here.
Okay.
So yeah, what it is we're taking what has always been true of QSys. It's always been a software operating system. And what we mean by that is all of our processing engine. So everything from echo canceling, networked audio, all the things we think of as part of a DSP environment, as well as control, so control processing. Everything you think of like in-room control, touch panels,
yeah.
The user experience design tool set, all the serving up of those what are more or less just web pages. That's what a UCI on a touchscreen is for the most part. And then all of the management and monitoring of that ecosystem, all of that has always been what we call it's an audio video control operating system that we've built from the ground up, and it's QSys at its heart. So if you think that way at a technical level and you think, okay, well, if this has always been an operating system and all of the QSys hardware you've seen to date has been more or less just a fancy computer. It's had an Intel motherboard in there, it's an x86 Atom processor or other processor type, Xeon and our big cores. Why keep building that hardware for every market segment? It makes sense to build that hardware for a small room, like a single instance, a huddle room or whatever. And by the way, all the control processing, video switching, and video processing that we see in the big Dell server core, it's micro-sized in the Core 110. It's still a server, really.
Yeah.
It's just our own integrated box. So take the next step. Okay, well, why would we continue building server-class hardware like the enterprise cores we currently sell today, the 1100 and 3100, when we could go target an off-the-shelf product from Dell or HP or whomever that is more robust, fits the IT model, since it is that class of product. They don't want some off-brand, that's what they look at QSC as, server in their data center, do they? So they'll continue to treat it like an AV product if it looks like an AV product.
Yep.
And so we decided, let's take that next step. We think the industry is ready for it, our channel, and we think the customer is more than ready for it. They've been asking for it. And it's not going to replace the Core 110, it's not going to replace the 510 or individual processing in rooms, but it's just that enterprise play. It's that I want to do 100 or 50 rooms, and I don't want to have to install DSPs in all those rooms, or control processors in all those rooms.
You said that the other day when we were talking. Is there a time, and I'm talking about asking you to forecast for a second here.
Yeah.
Is there a time when you go, okay, you know what? That's our standard. That's the norm, right? Yes, there might be a small community college that has 1 or 2 rooms.
Right.
But that server is our norm.
I think there's another way of looking at it, and that is, and I'll be a little careful here because I don't want to reveal too much of, just for the safety of the industry. We're still in development on a lot of this stuff, and so it's really important that we have out there what we have today. But I see a day coming where we go down in the class of products, like the Core 110, as well as the 510. So think 1 rack U box versus 2 rack U box, more I/O, physical I/O. I think there's coming a day when we start just targeting off the shelf for our processing engine and hardware for everything, even in those smaller rooms. I think that day is gonna come. But for the time being, we think that the industry is still used to, especially in the smaller single room types, used to having the comfort of that physical device from a brand manufacturer that's trusted, QSC, and not having to be as technical, especially with network capability. But we think that that's going to change, and as our industry continues to adopt more of an IT mindset, blended up and merged with our current skill set as AV people, that will become more of a reality and be more adoptable. And so just keep looking at QSC as, stop looking at us as a hardware company and think of us as a server OS company. And just like Dell sells more than just a big server.
Oh, yeah.
They sell every format PC you can imagine. So why wouldn't we someday also have a similar product line that mirrors that? So it's just like Microsoft. Microsoft makes Windows Server OSs and they make desktop OSs, different class and use case. Think of QSC as the Microsoft from an OS perspective of our industry.
No,
right
just say it. You call QSC the Microsoft of the AV industry.
Well, I don't want to be that brash, but in technical sense,
yes.
we're really an operating system manufacturer
yes.
or software developer,
yeah.
and that's really what QSys is. So that's the message we want the industry to really realize, because it's been there all along since the 2008 days. We just made it look like a DSP because that's the adoption curve there, right? So I think it's kind of cool.
And so and I agree with you, but you think that we've gotten there as an industry where
we're ready for the server.
We're ready
class.
for it. I mean seriously. We've talked with a bunch of IT managers over the last 6 months or so, and one of the things that you're talking about, without talking about it, is the security aspect.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
You're right in which you say, they look at QSC as an off-brand server.
Yes.
It's got if it's got a processor and it has an RJ40, it has a network jack, it's got to be tested, and they treat it like a server. And sometimes, in some instances, you won't get on their network.
You're right. And some of it's physical reality too, because that Dell server is a 2-rack space machine.
Yeah.
It's got the venting in the right direction. It's got the Dell remote access and monitoring tool set that lives under the OS. So we're not ditching that. We're not just damaging that by putting our own server OS on it. So the point is that an IT group that has access to tool sets that they manage servers remotely with, even if it's not a Dell branded OS tool, they can actually manage their server farm and now their DSP application server the same way they do their email server at the hardware layer.
Okay.
So I encourage you to go look up DRAC, DRAC.
Okay.
It's Dell Remote Access Console. And they even have iPhone apps and all of that that IT people are just used to using. Plus, it's got an open API, so it can be plugged into like SolarWinds or any other network or resource management tool set that IT is used to. And that doesn't have to ever even touch our world. That box is a great physical representation of our industries coming together, because it's got still the IT tool sets underpinning it and the physical relationship that the IT group is going to be familiar with managing, even in their data center at a physical level. But then it has the OS capabilities that we've created that really create a real AV environment. Because let's face it, I mean, Windows and even bare Linux, they're not capable of doing real-time processing without the magic that a company like QSC can develop. Because we're AV people, and I keep telling the AV industry, stop fearing IT, because we still have a great amount of innovation left in us, and it's something IT isn't going to be able to do natively on their own. So it's a perfect marriage, and that I think that Dell Server Core is a great microcosm of our industries coming together.
I agree with you.
So,
all right, how do people find you or QSC?
Come see our booth. We're at Q170. All seven. Right down the street.
Right down from me.
Yep. And come see our presentations. I'm giving presentations, as there are a few others in the booth, teaching people about this new paradigm and helping people understand what it means for their business, and as integrators especially.
All right, if somebody's not here and they're watching it and they want to get a hold of you?
Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I have all my details up there. Okay. Send me an email at tj.adams@qc.com if you want to go that direction. All right. And I'll be glad to talk to anyone in the industry about it. Pretty excited.
TJ, I appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much. TJ from QSC. I'm Tim Albright from AVNation. For more information about us, avnation.tv.